Canceled.
Good morning, everybody. It is Jack Gleason with StartupTrading.com, December 4th, 2019, 8 o'clock in the morning, Chicago, 9 o'clock, New York. For news events on Wednesday. Overnight, guys, we had some. Oops. There it is. Oh, it's lagging. For Wednesday overnight, we had Euro and Great Britain pound news. And if you could look at those pairs, which I'll go over later, they absolutely ripped out. This morning, the big news for the U.S. markets was ADP non-farm employment change at 8:15 Chicago. We're going to have Canadian news, Bank of Canada rate statement, and the overnight rate at 10 o'clock. Final services PMI at 9:45. Sorry, this is actually New York time. And then really that's it until the evening when we have news coming out of the Australian dollar retail sales trade balance. And then crude oil inventories at 10:30. Oil is a heavy mover here in the overnight session so far. Let's take a look here at the S&P 500. Actually, I'll start off with the VIX. I mentioned this yesterday in yesterday's videos, but basically the VIX, whenever the VIX was going to run into a support level, we were going to begin looking for resistances that lined up in the S&P 500. I'm going to go to a daily chart in the VIX. We had the VIX futures roll going into the first contract of 2020. You had this halfway back long that hit its profit target at 1675. As soon as we hit that profit target, the S&P stalled yesterday. So we want to continue to watch that 1675. If we get up there again here today in the VIX, I would imagine it is still resistance. After that completion of the long in the VIX, we were looking for our next setup at 1540. That 1540 has been front run by a few ticks here in the overnight session. And you can see we've got a bid out of those levels, So as the VIX runs into this support, we're going to be moving on to the S&P 500 looking for resistance. Now, there was a few different situations that we could run into for the S&P 500. And one of the things we were looking at was the full halfway back. That full halfway back still does exist above us and could potentially come into play. And that is at 13.1375. 13.1375 also lines up heavily with the areas we broke down from down and through in the overnight session on Tuesday. But you can see that was the support level Monday. So just from a general support resistance standpoint, that lines up. However, we have not made it up into that level. Instead, there is, if you get rid of the extended session here, the halfway back for the week from Monday's high to that morning low has come into play as a resistance level. So right now, the 50% retracement short here. One moment. The 50% retracement short is at 3107 quarter. Okay, 3107 quarter, and that is what we have run into here in the overnight session for the S&P 500. Now, we did have a counter trend long. It was a really great setup. That's basically what happens when we're trying to run up into our higher time frame resistances. We traded support. So we had one halfway back long from the low of Tuesday to that overnight high, trade to its profit target, and that high to high extension is currently holding. In the morning, if we're going to break down, we do need to get through these extension levels. If we cannot get below this current low here in the morning at 3101, we are going to move up and most likely trade the full halfway back at 13.1375, 13.13 half. So that's just something to be aware of as we move into the open here for New York. Now, after we trade these resistance levels, we're going to look for that bid once again coming out of the VIX. Okay, we could still retest these levels, these support levels here in the VIX. We're going to look for the bid coming out of the VIX, and with that, the S&P should fall. Now, there is a profit target all the way down at 30.51 here. So, this is well over a 50-point profit target for the S&P 500, which is a pretty big move. We're going to continue to have headlines about trade deals, etc. Nothing's changed with that. Every day it's no deal. It's at this point strictly entertainment. None of that news is actually matters because nothing's actually happening. It's been going on for quite some time. All right, and then we're going to move on to the other markets here. Now, the Dow has come has not come really into any levels that I'm too interested in. The full 50% retracement from the high of the week, or the overnight high to low, that Monday high, is still up above at 27,750. So I do want to mark up that level as well. And then I have an extension from the low before the breakdown here, which really is the halfway back for the week. So that high, the extended session turned off Monday high to low, that level is 27,709. Now, neither of those levels have traded here in the Dow, so that's one of the markets that I'm not looking at right now until the other indexes confirm. If you go to the NASDAQ out of all the markets is the only one that's traded the full 50% retracement short. And the NASDAQ was really technical in the overnight session. We had the halfway back long trade off its support level, run to its profit target, and then run directly into the 50% retracement short at 83.13. So that level is going to continue to exist right there, that 83.13. We want to break, ideally, if we're going to continue down to these profit targets, we need to break the 61.8 from lows. So that's just something we're going to be looking for later. And a break of the 61.8 from lows is a break of the overnight low right now in the NASDAQ. But the 83.13 is the current resistance level for the NQ. Oil, which has the oil inventory report here today, guys, has just ripping back up to the top side of the range. Now, if we can really start moving above 58, there's a possibility that we do, get up towards some higher time frame profit targets. Get rid of a couple of these draws. There is a halfway back long from the low in October 3rd, too high that traded once to profit target. That profit target is 58.32. So that 58.32 is going to be resistance when we get back up into it. But that same low to the most recent high has been front run. First, it was front run here on the 20th of November, and then this last move, once again, front run aggressively by I think it was 12 ticks or so. So we've had big front runs on these larger time frame halfway backs, and you can see oil is now breaking out. Oil has a really technical sequence. There was a short that broke in the overnight session from the spike up high to low. Okay, this was a valid short when it traded. You can see the resistance level. We came off. We failed to move lower. We broke above a 61.8, and then we ended up holding a 50% retracement long in the overnight session. From that 50% retracement long, we blew out of profit targets. We held an extension once to target. We held an extension twice to target. This is the third time that extension is traded. Its upside profit target is going to be 57.62. Once we complete that profit target, I'm just going to continue to look for these same anchor new highs when they trade. All right, same anchor new highs when they trade. But I'm going to wait until the market actually tops out before drawing that level. All right, moving on to gold. Gold here has had a couple of, it's a little sloppy where it currently is. In the overnight session, we had extensions that failed to hit profit targets, and then we had a halfway back short that broke. And that halfway back short broke because we ran into the full halfway back from the Tuesday low to high. So right now, that Tuesday low to high is our support level. That level exists at 1478. That is the support level that I have right now in gold. If we do not hold 1478, I'm anticipating a full 50% retracement pullback from the low of last week, 1453.9, too high. Okay, so if we fall through 1478 and do not hold, I'd expect a retest of the area we broke out of. And you can see these previous highs line up really well with this 1472 area. So that 1472 is a high level of interest for me for GC. All right, and that's what I have for the indexes, gold and oil, as well as the VIX. We'll move on to a couple of the currency pairs just because they're really moving here, guys. I specifically want to go over the Great Britain pound. We were in a daily extension that has now hit its profit target. That daily extension is drawn from 125.81, the high of September 20th to high. Okay, we traded it once, twice, came down for another test 3 times, and then we consolidated earlier this week. We began a 50% retracement that held its level, ran through its profit target, and then began extensions from the 28th of November. That high to high traded yesterday, retested in the overnight session. We've blown out of profit targets. There then began a new extension from 130.08 to high that traded in the overnight session early this morning to its profit target. That same anchor new high is 130.58. 130.58 is the next support level that I have here for the Great Britain Pound USD. Now, if we have also, just to be aware, we did come off this major profit target of a daily extension, so it's a possibility, a higher possibility that this extension breaks. We need to hold this to go straight up through these extension targets, or we're going to fall back down into a higher time frame, same anchor new high. For the euro has just hit its extension profit target from the extension that starts on the Friday high. We traded it yesterday. We retested it overnight twice. We just completed our profit targets. We are looking for the same anchor new high here in the Euro USD. The same anchor new high. And those levels, the 50% is 110.68. 110.68. And the 38.2 is 110.77. 110.77. Okay, so at or below both of those levels. And those are really the only two currencies I'm super interested in. The yen, if we can come full halfway back short from Monday's high to low in the yen, that is 109.07. I am interested in that level. That is a lot higher than where we're currently trading though, but could definitely trade today, the 109.07 level for the yen. And then just a couple of other markets here, pull them into view. The bond market and the notes, 10-year notes, are most importantly, they are at major daily halfway back shorts. We have a double top situation here and major downside profit targets that probably will complete in 2020. You can see we double topped in the notes yesterday. We have now held a 50% retracement short. The 129.17 is the profit target on this hourly short, and when that completes, we'll look for the next traditional measured move. Silver is running into its full halfway back long. It is now dipping into those levels, but right here around this level is where silver bid should come in, and that's from the halfway back long from last week's low to high. All right, nat gas, not going to go over it. Bonds, same thing as the notes, guys. Daily halfway back long, double top situation. This is the same. ZB is the same thing as ZN. You can see we traded it once from this high here on the 8th of October too low, and then we retested in a front run, and we've come off those levels. Big targets on these bonds, guys. And when we complete this short, we'll look for the full halfway back again. But that's really all I have for this morning. For those of you guys who are in my chat room, I'll share you my levels. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Feel free to share it on any social media channels that you have, Twitter, etc. Everybody have a great day. And for those of you guys in my chat room, feel free to hit me up there. If you're interested in getting my chat room, shoot me a email support at, it's startuptradingnow@gmail.com. Everybody have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.